Alright, today guys I'm going to talk about the small game and predator hunting across Africa. We've talked about the dangerous game, we've talked about the plains game and the sub categories of that. And so today I want to talk to you guys about predator hunting and small game hunting. And it's all lumped into one because they're kind of a bunch of different varieties of species. So we'll start on the predator side of things. I'm going to have the three hyenas involved in here. I'm going to have the spotted hyena, the brown hyena, and the striped hyena. Striped hyena is only hunted right now in Tanzania. Brown hyena is not importable into the United States. And the main focus of that would be in Namibia. There's some in the Limpopo province of South Africa. And there's probably a few other spots that you can hunt them as well, spread out throughout there. But those are kind of the main areas that people are hunting them right now as far as I'm concerned. Then we're going to have the two jackals. You got your side striped jackal and your black-backed jackal. Those are found across pretty much every southern Africa country, with a huge emphasis on hunting them in Namibia and South Africa as part of predator control for cattle and sheep farmers, and as well as game ranching. It's a big process for that to do over there, and so that's a big thing, is hunting them on that way. A lot of times you'll go do a call hunt for guys, and you'll do call in at night and spotlighting, and that's how that goes. Most of this game is shot at night because they're either super nocturnal, very rare to see in the daylight. Your hyenas, there's a good chance they're in the daylight. Besides the brown hyena, most of that is done at night over bait, as well as the honey badger. Honey badgers are shot quite often over bait at night. There's a chance you do see one during the day, but those are some mainly primary baiting options. You will get civets, serval, and genet cats coming into bait as well. Mainly the genet and the civet. Those are also opportunity animals as well, driving down the road at night, spotlighting, or during the day. I've never seen a genet during the day, so there's probably no chance to get one today, hardly ever. But people do see them in the civets during the daylight. And then you have your serval cat, which is probably the #1 pound-for-pound killer in Africa. If they were any bigger, if they're the size of a lion, everyone would be in trouble. But they're a lot smaller, and they primarily focus on antelopes, small antelope species, and like livestock, like sheep. They're really pretty. It's a great hunt that you're going to have to do at night, more than likely. And a lot of this stuff, there's like tailored safaris that companies will go and do and hunt it all at night. And we'll dive into more of that in a little bit. But so you have your hyenas, your cats like that. You have your African wildcat, which is a small cat. Looks just like a house cat pretty much. But they're a wild, like feral type cat in Africa. It's actually a real species, so it's not really a feral cat. I was wrong there. And then you're going to get into your springhares and your porcupines and species like that. The springhare is just like a kangaroo rat here in America. That's kind of how I look and see it. You have your Cape hares, which is your rabbits over there that you're going to have. And then the porcupines, like I suggested, as well as doing other night animals. Another common night animal, it's really not I guess I'd consider it a small game type of animal. It kind of doesn't fall in any category, but it's the bush pig. A lot of times those are shot over bait at night. That's a primary way of doing it, or running them with dogs. I forgot about the caracal cat. You'll have the caracal cat involved there, as well as some of the top predators hunting wise. You can either do those in daylight with the dogs, or a lot of guys spotlight those at night as well. I did my first caracal with dogs. It was an awesome experience. It's similar to mountain lion hunting here in the United States, and it's a great adrenaline rush experience. And I suggest if you're like a houndsman, it'd be a great hunt for you. We talked about your side stripe and black-backed jackal. You have two different species of fox as well. You have your Cape fox and your bat-eared fox. Those are going to be primarily night hunts as well. Again, back into like your agricultural type areas where there's farming going on. A lot of hunts like that are done for predator control and such. And then as far as like the springhare hunt goes, it's going to be kind of hit or miss where you're going to find those. The soil has to be right for it because obviously it's like a rabbit. They burrow into the ground, and they actually do create a lot of havoc across a lot of farming crops and cattle ranches. So a lot of places want you to go out there and do a predator control type deal on them. Even they're not really predators, but they want you to go out and do a controlled type spotlight hunt on them as well. So going back to this topic of spotlighting, like I said, most of these are primarily animals of opportunity during the daylight and focused on probably night hunts spotlighting wise. Throughout all of southern Africa, South Africa, and Namibia, you will do these on your night hunts. In Zimbabwe, you can shoot them over bait at night, such as a honey badger and stuff. And so a big thing is like hyena, spotted hyena. You can get those at night over bait, but there's a good chance of doing that during the daylight. We got lucky in Tanzania and found one and shot it. Just got lucky in the morning. A lot of people get lucky on those. But as far as some of the other night critters go, it's going to be a lot of hours spent at night, either in a blind over a bait or driving the roads in the areas that they commonly frequent, spotlighting, spending time doing it. And so I'm going to go do a safari here soon, and it's going to be just a primarily nocturnal spotlighting hunt type safari. And it's literally, he wants me there for 10 days because we're going to do I think we're going to do 7 or 8 different night critter species, but it's just going to be constantly every night. It's going to be from dark till daylight. Dark till daylight. It says it's going to, we're traveling to different areas. We're going to start in the Eastern Cape and work our way back up to Joburg to get dropped off. But it's going to be a fun time. There's a lot of different country we're going to cover, and it's going to be fun to be out there spotlighting, calling the predators such as the jackal and the foxes in, and obviously a lot of other predators to come into that call as well. But that'll be the primary focus as that goes. The spotlighting hunts are fun. It's a little bit different because you're not out in the bush in the daylight, but you're spending a lot of time just pounding the roads, driving. A lot of these guys are using 22s, shotguns, 223s as far as it goes for a lot of these predators. If you're not going to use any of the smaller caliber stuff, I would suggest using a bigger caliber, like a 375 with just a solid involved. But a lot of these guys are really primarily focused on the 22 calibers and that kind of range as well. And a lot of these cams will have those calibers in them, so it's not necessarily you got to take a gun over there when you're going to primarily focus on these safaris. Or if you want, you can actually pack a gun, a spare with you, like a 17 or 22 if you want. But most of the time, they're going to have a smaller predator type gun in camp for you to use. And then another southern Africa species called the aardwolf. That's another predator type night hunt that you'll do. It's similar, to doing the caracal, the civet, the serval, and the genet. It's just an animal of opportunity you have at night. They do come into bait sometimes, but it's just gonna be one of those another hunts that you're gonna be driving, pounding the roads, searching for the animal, and spending time behind the wheel. And to finish out this video on the small game predators and night critters of Africa, I want to talk a little bit about the baboon species. There's different subspecies throughout the continent of Africa, and then you got your vervet monkey in South Africa, which is known as the blue ball monkey because they're bright fluorescent blue balls. Those are species that I consider within this varmint, predator, night critter, small game package. There's so many different animals throughout Africa, and I believe I even forgot about the golden jackal, just things like this. It's like the amount of small game to hunt in Africa is unreal. And then you got your waterfowl and your game birds. That's a whole nother one that I'm still trying to learn and scratch the itch to learn about. So I'll come out with a video of that here shortly for you guys. But remember, on all these night critters, when you're planning these safaris or night critters, small game, baboons, any of this, you want to make sure with your outfitters that you guys have the proper paperwork, because some of these animals require CITES, some of these animals require certain permits from in-country, TOPS permits in South Africa, stuff like that. So you want to be really keyed in on this and make sure before you go over there, you want to say, hey, I want to hunt a Sunni, because a Sunni permit's hard to get in South Africa. So it might take a year or two to obtain one of those, at least a year in advance. Or you're going to say, I want to do a baboon in certain areas. You got to have different permits for that. It's just, you want to make sure ahead of time you say, hey, I might want to do this. It's better to say I might want to do this so they can at least get the permit for you. And if it doesn't work out, you don't get one, it's better at that than it is showing up saying, I'd like to take one of those, but I can't because there's no permit. So make sure when you're doing your list, especially on all these small animals, because there's so many of them, to key in and say, hey, whoever you're talking to, whether it's Michael or it's anyone, it's just like tell them, hey, Michael, I want to make sure that I have these permits available, because I think if we do see one, I want to take the opportunity to say, hey, is there one still available for this year? If so, I'd like to obtain one. Just make sure you dial in on that ahead of time. There's a lot of different rules and regulations. We will have a Safari 101 on all the TOPS permits, CITES, and importation and stuff like that. So that'd be a good one for you guys to find here in the library, whether here on simsafairs.com or on the YouTube channel. But it should be found right here in this Safari 101 page on simsafairs.com. So I hope you guys have enjoyed all these helpful videos, and look forward to bringing you guys more in-depth videos on each of these species, categories, and diving into how the safari operations work when you're hunting these key species. So guys, stay tuned for the next one.